All right, you guys, welcome to the Lone Wolf Pack show, where we talk about equity jurisprudence. Today, we are going to talk about, we're going to talk about a half hour. I'm going to have a discussion, and it's going to be on, it's going to be on the Clean Hands Doctrine, because we've got still some unclear comprehension of what that is. So today we're going to go over some of those things and show you what they are. So so anyway, before we get started, I've got a couple of announcements. One of them being, a toast to Tito.
The following program contains mature content and is the truth. No part herein is intended to be legal advice and is for entertainment purposes only. Audience discretion is advised.
All right, you guys, welcome. So today we're going to go over the nuanced and the essential concept of the Clean Hands Doctrine. And this is a pillar in equity. This principle is, it's deeply rooted in the maxims of equity, and it mandates that somebody seeking equitable relief must do so with moral integrity and honesty. And the doctrine underscores that those who seek the court's aid in equity, they must be themselves free from unethical or wrongful conduct related to the claim. And our exploration is going to traverse into historical foundations and fundamental principles and real-world applications enriched with detail, case studies, and scenarios. So the origin of the Clean Hands Doctrine, it lies in the English Court of Chancery, where equity developed as a means to provide justice when the rigid application of common law wasn't good enough. And historically, equity courts, distinct from courts of law, exercise discretion to deliver just outcomes, guided by maxims like, he who comes in equity must come with clean hands. And this maxim prevents a party from seeking equitable remedies if they've engaged in misconduct directly related to their claim. This misconduct can be known or unknown. And there are ways to present your notices to waive that liability, but you have to know what you're doing. Okay, you have to know how and what it is. What is clean hands? Chancellor Selden's comment that equity varies at the length of the chancellor's foot illustrates the discretionary nature of equity, emphasizing that decisions were based not on fixed rules, but on principles of fairness and moral integrity. You guys don't hear that very often, do you? Fairness and moral integrity, you don't see that in your courtroom. Clean Hands Doctrine encapsulates three core tenets. Number one is integrity and fairness. Okay, the claimant must act ethically. So if you're claiming something, you need to act ethically. You have to act with fairness and honesty in anything that is related to that particular claim. Number two is connection to the subject matter. The alleged misconduct that you're doing must be directly related to the subject matter of the dispute. So when you're dealing with things, you need to ask yourself, what am I leaving out that could be considered alleged misconduct directly related to the subject matter of the dispute? Okay? So who can call you a bad person is the question. Who can call you a bad person for doing something that they say you weren't honorable in? And that's really what it comes down to. Number three is equitable discretion, where the court wield discretion assessing the moral conduct of parties to determine where equitable relief is appropriate. So some of the stuff you have to know, and some of it really works on the conscience because you're not required to know. Now we're going to talk about, I'm going to show you guys here something. And I apologize for looking around because I've got screens here, guys, so just bear with me, okay? I'm not ignoring anybody. I really want to show everybody everything. I just got to make sure. Okay, so this is the screen I want to show you. All right, so here is the one of the things that we're talking about, okay? So actually this one right here. Okay, so this is Häagen-Dazs, okay? You guys can see that? So In the noble case Häagen-Dazs versus Frusen Glädjé, you guys know that, I don't know if I pronounced that right, but just say okay. Yeah. So Häagen-Dazs brought a lawsuit against Frusen Glädjé, accusing the latter of deceptive trade practices and saying they were falsely marketing its ice cream as being Scandinavian origin. The irony in the irony lays in the fact that Häagen-Dazs also employed a similar deceptive strategy, and they marketed the product with an implied Scandinavian heritage despite being an American company. So the court found that both parties possessed unclean hands because they're misleading everyone in their brands so that neither one could claim equitable relief. So if you are doing something that is not honorable, you can't go and pull somebody out and call them out for not being honorable. Okay, that's the whole moral of that story. And the key points of this are that both companies misrepresented their products' origins and engaged in deceptive marketing practices. And prevention is ethical advertising. With transparent disclosure about product origins, you can prevent both parties from being denied equitable relief. So as long as you guys are being transparent, it doesn't, like, here's the deal. Nobody cares. Do you understand? Like, sometimes we think, oh, wait, I'm not going to tell them that. But no one cares when you get down to it. And there may be things that you need to say that you don't necessarily believe are related to the matter at hand. And so that's where you guys can be dishonorable too. But what about making a statement saying that this is to the best of my knowledge and ability? Wouldn't that be different than saying I don't have anything out there at all? There's nothing that exists. I have this and I am honorable. Well, you can't say you're honorable if you have things that you don't know about that exist. You understand? Because you can't be an honor if something of yours is still out there. It just, I don't know. I hope you guys can see that. So the case underscores honest marketing, and you can't mislead consumers about product origins. And if you do, that can disqualify you from seeking any kind of protection later on. All right? And so the second one we're going to talk about, I think it's this one here. So the web address is r8smith.umd.edu. Here, I'll just put it in the put it in the chat for you guys. Comments. There we go. So that's the first one. Okay, so I'll put that in there for you guys to see. The second case we're going to look at is well, all right, Decandia versus Rinaldi, I believe. Let me make sure this is the right one. I don't know. Anyways, I'll just leave this up here as well for you. I'm going to talk about Decandia versus Rinaldi. The plaintiff in Decandia versus Rinaldi, the plaintiff sought compensation for a minority interest in an LLC. So they had a small interest in a business after allegedly being ousted unfairly. Someone was ousted from the business unfairly. But it was revealed that the plaintiff had leaked confidential information to a competitor during the negotiations over the new agreement. So the court said the plaintiff's actions constituted unclean hands as if they were directly connected to the dispute at hand. Okay? The unclean hands, the plaintiff's unauthorized sharing of confidential information, demonstrated unethical behavior directly related to the litigation. The prevention was the plaintiff could have avoided unclean hands by respecting the confidentiality agreement and refraining from unethical conduct. So this scenario, it highlights the importance of maintaining integrity and confidentiality in business transaction, as breaches of trust can render a party ineligible for equitable relief. So we're going to give you a hypothetical, a doctor versus former partners. So you say you have there's a doctor and he's going against former partners. A doctor left a medical partnership and he later sued the remaining partners for financial compensation under the partnership agreement. However, it emerged that the doctor had attempted to lure patients away from the partnership and spread defamatory information about the other doctors. The court applied the unclean hands doctrine, denying the doctor equitable relief due to his unethical actions. The doctor's unethical attempt to harm the partnership's reputation and solicit patients demonstrated misconduct directly related to the claim. The doctor should have acted ethically and respected the partnership reputation and the terms of the departure and maintaining clean hands. Now, I'm going to just tell you guys, in real life, that's how you should be acting. We shouldn't be leaving any relationships where you're sabotaging things. It should never be like that. I mean, some of them you can't get along with people. It just is what it is. But if you leave with clean hands, you can always go back. And I'll tell you what, I wish I would have known that when I was younger, because as I got older, I found many of those relationships that I didn't have any controversy with at all, and just let go. They came back again to another circle, but the ones that didn't, they never did. Just because, it's unclean hands. It's hard to trust people if you have unclean hands or they've had unclean hands, either one. So that's where I told you guys, like, there was a time where, I will tell you straight up that I was not honorable. And it's because I didn't know how to be honorable. It's because I wasn't taught. Like, people say, go do this, follow this rule. But that's not honorable. Like, that isn't being honorable at all. That means you're following a master. That's being loyal. There's a difference between loyalty and honorable, okay? Honor comes from you, your creator, straight to you, and then whoever you want to extend that to. Loyalty comes from your creator, where you go and you're loyal to someone else besides the creator, and now you got to make other relationships to compensate for that. So it only exists, like, trust is always there, and loyalty only is there temporarily. I'm just going to say, like, I say temporarily. I don't mean that people will not be loyal. Some people can have the conviction, like, yes, I'm always going to be loyal. But if someone dies and they're no longer here, how are you going to be loyal to that? Like, you got to go on living your life. And if you die, then how are they going to be loyal? So loyalty doesn't last forever. Trust does, and it lasts forever and ever. So that's something we need to remember in distinguishing the two. So I'm going to give you another scenario, and this is a company 1 versus company 2. And we'll just say there was confidential information that was out there, and you guys wanted to make sure that this confidential information got out there to the people that you needed, but it didn't get to the wrong people, okay? So company 1 had previously obtained confidential client information from company 2 through illicit means. And I'm going to just say, like, I was in a situation where okay, so this is a true story. And I have a friend whose name is Raul, who had a company. And when we had a list of people, and he had a tech working for him by the name of Frank. And Frank went and took the client list and contacted the clients behind Raul's back and started creating another list of, like, clients that he was handling that Raul didn't know about, and he was making deals with them. So that's unclean hands, because he didn't generate those. So he can't go back and ever say, Raul did something to him ever on any circumstances, on any level, because he jacked him over. So you can't, like, have an unbalanced scale when you walk in, and there's some things you may not know that makes it unbalanced, but you have to disclose that you don't know of anything else, right? I mean, you just say that. I don't know of anything else that exists. But if you don't say, I don't know of anything else, and you just say, I didn't do that, and I've never done anything like that before. Haven't you guys ever done that? Have you ever done that? Like, think about this. Something that happened a long time ago, you might have had a different perspective on something, and you changed your mind because you learned something new. And as time came by, you thought, well, you know what, this is, I've really got to change the ways of this. And so you change your whole entire paradigm of thinking. And now you look back and you're like, wow, how did I ever think like that before? That's different, okay? When you do that, you're changing your mind. You're actually changing your paradigm of thinking. And if you change your paradigm of thinking, you can make a statement to that effect. And that justifies why you're in two different places at two different times. But if you don't make the record of those two different places at two different times, then it gives the appearance, okay? It gives the appearance. That's why it doesn't say you must come with clean hands. It says you can't come with unclean hands. You get it? So it talks in negative. So company one, we're just going to say previously obtained confidential information from company two through illicit means. Like they went and got it somewhere when the other company didn't know about it, or they shouldn't have had the access to it. Years later, company two reciprocated by stealing similar information from company one. So company two knew about it and they got them back. They retaliated. So when company one sought an injunction to prevent company two from using the stolen information, the court said, no. Wait a second. You stole from them. You can't go and steal from them and then come to us and complain to us because they stole from you after you stole from them. That doesn't work. You guys get it? So it's like kind of like mom and dad being referee and saying, no, you can't do that. No can do. So company one's original theft of confidential information was unethical and directly related to the relief that they sought. So adherence to ethical standards and legal protocols in this situation, if they would have done that, then the information would have been preserved. It would have preserved company one ability to seek the relief. See, they didn't, if they wouldn't have sought retaliation, if they would have just made the record that happened, then company two could have gone back and gotten company one for the first and the second incident and gotten relief for any future intent to do that. But their act of retaliation, which is, see, this is why the company teaches you retaliation. You retaliate. When you retaliate, you waive rights in equity. Now you go down to another level from being up here where you have authority. You're going down to another level that you have diminished your rights again. Again, it's a waiver and consent, but you guys got to be on the ball on what's happening. Otherwise, you'll waive stuff. And it's not hard. You just got to stay in it. It's like, I don't know. It's like playing ping pong. You know, maybe you miss the first 5 hits and then suddenly you get a volley over the other side. And then suddenly you get a few times you're over there. And then, you know, before you know it, you're like not even looking and you're hitting the paddle and like you just get better. You just get more comfortable, complacent. And it becomes part of what you do. And it's only like, well, you guys have been trained on like 50,000 things to do 50,000 things.
The following.
And since you've been trained on those 50,000 things, now you don't know the 50 things that you need to know. So here we are, like trying to, you know, mix this like thing going, okay, well, this is righteous, he's saying over here, but this is the other thing that we got done. How do these things go together, and how do I do? That's what you guys have to know is where do you fit in on that? What distinguishing the two differences? That's what classes, like these classes that I teach, are so important because you guys will learn the difference, the distinguishment between what's happening and who you are in different hats that you're wearing. So this is a case here I'm going to give you next is a failure to disclose insurance benefit in trust. So it's a failure to disclose insurance benefit in trust repudiation. So in a contemporary case in the United States, a beneficiary, Miss Davis, sought to repudiate a trust, alleging that the trustee, Mr. Harris, managed the trust or mismanaged the trust. And during the proceedings, it was uncovered that Miss Davis had failed to disclose a significant insurance benefit that was related to that trust. And the non-disclosure was deemed material, and the court applied the Clean Hands Doctrine. And they found that Miss Davis, her unclean hands barred her from obtaining equitable relief. See, because she failed to disclose the material insurance benefit she received, and it's a critical omission that's directly affected the trust administration. Now, what you guys need to understand here, okay, here's the deal. you're in a trust. You are in a trust. And everything you've done in the trust has been the wrong way. So you have to go back and give notice of everything you've done in the trust or what your intent is to get credit for it. Because if you're trying to get one thing done and you have no plan on everything else, then they don't see you as having clean hands. You got to have full transparency. So full transparency and honest disclosure of all relevant financial interests would have maintained Mrs. Davis's eligibility. She would have been eligible for equitable relief. So this case, it serves as a modern-day example of what the Clean Hands Doctrine application is. And it emphasizes the need for, well, complete honesty and integrity in fiduciary relationships and in trust management. Okay? So, let's see here. All right. So, we're going to talk about one more that has family law context, okay? And some of you guys who've been in custody situations with kids may realize or see this, okay? In family law, the Clean Hands Doctrine is often invoked in cases involving custody disputes or asset division, like divorces. For instance, if a parent kidnaps their child and later seeks custody, or if a spouse conceals assets during divorce proceedings, the court may deny their claims based on unclean hands. Such actions are directly relevant to the matters under dispute and reflect poorly on the party's moral standing. So your intent to go and be non-transparent, see, there's no money, guys. The only time people lie is to protect either other people from a charge or something, and that's money. It has to do with money. It's money. So it's like all of this stuff, it has to do with money. So that's part of why, this is important. These examples in family law, they illustrate, well, the doctrine, its role in upholding ethical conduct, making sure that someone doesn't benefit from their own wrongful stuff that they do. Actions like kidnapping or concealing assets, it shows significant ethical breaches. There's no money. So you go and steal the kid because here's the deal. Here's what you're doing. You're stealing what you say because you are justified, right? You are saying, it's my kid. I can do, but there's another party that says it's their kid too, which is why the state is involved. The other thing is that if you knew really who you are, instead of arguing with people, go learn who you are. Because once you learn who you are, especially men out there, I'm not trying to encourage anybody to go argue with anyone at all. But if you learn who you are, then you will see that in any type of marriage, the man is the trustee, the woman is the beneficiary, okay? And that's the trust setup, the way that they see it. And when we get divorced or all of these are contracts. So you guys have these contracts that you don't even know, that you don't think are banking transactions, that are banking transactions. So you can't even come with clean hands because you don't know to even put those and include them and announce them. So that's why it's so important that we understand what these things do and how they work. And don't kidnap kids, because here's the deal. You create the trust, okay? The reason that someone else can control something that you say is yours, and I just say because you don't know exactly, you're just saying that because that kid came from me, he's mine. That is a true fact, and that is relative to this. However, there is a legal title that you didn't do anything with, and it's because you don't know anything about that legal title or what to do with it that's creating your problem. So your clean hands has to do everything with your lack of knowledge, which it means that you need to go back to the writing board and find out why that exists the way it does. And when you do, you're going to be pleasantly surprised that there are things that you can easily do to correct the record, and it's a matter of taking steps, but you got to learn what they are first, okay? So the Clean Hands Doctrine, it remains, well, a fundamental aspect of equity, and it makes sure that people who seek the aid of the court, they need to have themselves acted with fairness and integrity. Through the historical context, theoretical principles, and detailed case studies presented today, we've explored this doctrine's essential role in promoting justice and ethical conduct. And as practitioners and members of the group, it is incumbent upon us to uphold the same standards, to guide the people that we work with in our daily lives and ourselves to maintain clean hands in all legal and ethical matters. And this doctrine not only protects the integrity of processes, but also reinforces moral foundations of our trust system. So let us remember that the importance of ethical conduct in all areas of law and life. In the Clean Hands Doctrine, it serves as a reminder that equity and justice are intertwined with moral righteousness. And, you know, that's something that we all really have to practice in our everyday lives, not just say, yeah, you know what, I'm going to be moral in this dealing. It should always be, and I'm telling you guys, when you just take a high road in a lot of stuff, some people will resonate when I say this right now. They'd be like, oh, yeah, the higher road is very. So I'm going to tell you, I have one member that's in the trust group, and I'm not going to say who they are. I'm going to say that when they started, they really liked the fact that I don't encourage people to go argue, that I don't encourage people to go get involved in controversy. And that's very true. That's why I don't do it. Because here's the thing. If you don't get engaged in that, then you can't be accused in that perspective of having unclean hands. See, the moment that you begin arguing about whatever is on a piece of paper, because someone needs you to argue that to make it a dispute to get the money out of you. So the moment that you begin arguing, you are involved in something that is accountable and accounting. And now it has become a billable matter. So when you engage in that, then you are giving away money to pay other people to argue with you, if that makes any sense at all. So we got to make sure that we're not doing those kind of things, because they're not conducive to you know, being ethical or moral. And I'm going to tell you something else. Like, you guys might be saying, well, you sound like my dad, or you sound like this or that. But it's going to make you feel a lot better, folks, because here's the deal, is that you don't have to worry about whether you did the right thing or not. And when you send energy out there of retaliation, you got to wait for that energy to come back, because it's a boomerang. It's coming back, I promise. When you get someone else back, they're going to, and most of the time it's like for never ending. That's the Hatfields and McCoys, guys. They're still fighting right now to this day. They just change names and they move on. So you guys got to know that, like, this stuff is out there to tempt you to get into the argument, so you waive your right as a beneficiary and you get into a trustee position. And that's all it is waiver and consent. Okay, you're waiving a right that they gave you. Okay, you got to turn your rights in at the door, folks. Literally, like, okay, you want to come play at our club? Come and turn your rights in. Here, hand your rights to the bouncer right there. They'll take your rights, and then they're going to give you a new set of rules, and that's called the Constitution. So you need to go and pay attention to all of the articles in that Constitution. You guys don't belong there. Most of you don't belong there. And if you know you don't belong there, then that's what I do. I help people just comprehend what happened, how you got where you are, and how to fix what you got. Because, like I said, I have no qualms with any man or woman out there. I am not trying to, like, cause any cases or any financial problems for anyone. I am telling people that simply the truth. Like, if there is a mistake that you made and you realize, like, wait a second, I'm being treated that a lot differently than they say these civilian people should be treated, and this looks a lot like what they do in the military, then you feel like I did a long time ago. And you say, okay, yeah, I need to change this. Because it's like, here's the deal. For me, it's like I walked into a gay bar, and I did that one time. I walked into a gay bar, and I thought, there's no women in here. I wonder why. But I was naive, guys, okay? In my own defense, I thought, seriously, I sat there and I'm like, do I order a beer? I'm just like, I was waiting for women to come. And there was a couple women that came in, but like they were with like other women. So that was my lesson. But I learned a good lesson when it came down to it. So anyway, that's what I have for today. I'm going to discuss other things that are relative to this. And I've got, so I went today, I'll tell you, just closing this off. I went to the post office today and I sent off 4 documents that were sent to, let's see, 1, 2. Okay, so I sent 2 to California, 1 to Texas, and 1 to California, Texas, and Colorado. Okay, so we should be finding out something of what they want to do within the next 10 days. And it's okay. I mean, it's just an accounting issue, right? Like I've got accounting already tolling. And that's all we can do. You guys make a bill of accounting and have it enforced. And with that note, I send you guys much love and energy. I appreciate you guys for coming and checking it out. I hope that this helped you a little bit in expanding your knowledge. If you have a topic in equity jurisprudence or something else that you would like to have discussed or expanded on, just let me know. Send us a message. You can check us out at www.lonewolfpack.net. And with that, you can check out the just what will happen is when you guys go to the website, it'll bring up it's going to bring up like a chat bot, okay? And you can put anything you want to in that chat bot so that you can let people know, like let us know. There's the web address at the bottom, guys. And you guys can go there. Once you log on, the chat bot will come on. And if you guys need any help or questions or anything, I have the website. Again, this is a charitable organization. We are not a profit organization. We are not we are a 508c1a classified as. So it is not any for profit. And the basis of this is founded on trust. So I want you guys to know, if you have any questions, comments, whatever, leave it in the comment section. Please like the video. And if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. We appreciate you. And I'll have more stuff coming out. Again, we're getting stuff really just off the ground right now. And I've got some major changes that are going to be coming with the website again. I've got a new marketing person that's going to be really handling stuff so that you people as members, my members that come and are my students, that you guys are getting like constant updates of things that need to be said to you. So you're going to be getting like however method you want, but I'm going to be sending you some stuff that's related to what you're learning, related to the classes that we've had, just informative articles and things like that you can read that will keep you in the subject, engaged. It will also send you reminders. For example, if you have some kind of appointment, you'll get a couple of notices before that appointment. We want to reduce like people not being able to make the appointment because they forgot about the appointment or whatever. So I want to help you guys to help me so that we're all helping to get your problems solved. And again, if you got into the wrong classification, then you need to have it fixed. And the way you do that is learning what you did. And once you learn, you can tell somebody. It's better if you express it. And then the next goal from that is to establish trust. So you have your own private establishment and someone else is the liable party for things that you've been assuming all your life. So you guys have an amazing day. I send you much love and energy. And with that, I yield.